Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Jason LaBelle. I'm the Associate Professor of Anthropology at CSU and Director of the Center for Mountain and Plains Archaeology. And I welcome you to the Fossil Creek site. This is an archaeological site in southeastern Fort Collins that we've been working on since 2010 and leading excavations with the CSU Field School at this site since 2016. So in the coming minutes today, we'll be walking you through the site, showing you some of the things that we're doing at the site in terms of our research, talking to some of our CSU Field School students to get their first-hand perspectives of what it's like here to be a student during the Archaeology Field School. The site's pretty exciting because it represents over 12,000 years of occupation by ancient peoples in northern Colorado. The portion that you'll be focusing on today in the coming minutes is a component that dates to about 1,100 years ago that represents some of the first attempts at using pottery in northeastern Colorado, using small little bow and arrow points, and processing small game such as deer and other kinds of plants that they're utilizing in their everyday diets. So as we walk through, feel free to ask us questions or give us comments, feedback. We'd love to hear from you, and we look forward to showing you the site today.
Hello, I'm Kelton Meyer. I'm a third-year graduate student at Colorado State University and with the Center for Mountain and Plains Archaeology. And today I'll be talking to you about site stratigraphy. This is something that archaeologists use as a multidisciplinary approach to try to answer questions about context and behavior of peoples of the past. At the Fossil Creek site, we have 4 stratigraphic units that we identify here. The first one is going to be this topsoil and plow zone. This is an area where a lot of the artifacts that we find are heavily disturbed from modern or historic activity, but what we're really trying to find is intact sediment. We've identified this really dark anthropogenic soil or cultural soil that humans of the past have aided in creating, and this is where we find the majority of our artifacts as well as the contact of our features. This lower unit, this tan unit here, is non-cultural, so we've started to bound this cultural occupation at Fossil Creek. Marie Taylor is going to be talking to you all about the presence of features at the site, which comes at the contact of that non-cultural level.
Hi, I'm Marie Taylor. I'm an incoming graduate student at CSU. So I'll be talking to you today about hearths. And essentially a hearth is just an enclosed area that would have been filled with rock or wood or some kind of fuel to provide a heat and light source. And all that's left here today, 1,100 years later, is this oxidized soil color, the red you can see clearly here. And this is a great example of a bell-shaped hearth, and we've dug out the rest of it. There's some rocks at the bottom, and Laura will tell you later about the samples. But hearths are special because they're immovable, unlike the lithics or charcoal or pottery that can spread across the site due to erosion or other bioturbation. Hearths stay here. So since this fire was stoked, this oxidized rim has been here, and so we can really get a good understanding of what people did around these hearths, these fireplaces. And so we can see what people ate in the past, how they cooked it, and maybe kind of what other activities revolved around that. So we can go over here, and Laura will show us kind of the process of how we get our radiocarbon dates, which is also another very important feature of what hearths can tell us.
Good morning, I'm Laura. This was the unit that I was working on, and yesterday at the very bottom of my level I came down on this hearth that Marie was just talking about. So we really, when we're looking for them, want to find that oxidized ring, which you can see if you get this kind of wet. Oh goodness. It really likes to pop out. And you can see it along in there too, really well. And it's also on this side. So as we start to excavate those, it's really the layers that Kelton was talking about earlier. But the very bottom of that cultural layer is where the top of the hearths usually start. So it's right where we were expecting to find it. And then as we start to excavate, as we've done, start taking these out in 2-liter pieces. And to, find all the charcoal and rocks that are going to be in there. So when we're ready to start mapping something into there and finding out exactly where this is in space, I'm going to turn you over to Paul and Jesse.
Hi, my name is Paul Buckner. I'm an incoming graduate student.
My name is Jesse. I'm an incoming transfer student coming in as a junior.
And what Jesse's holding is called a Prism Rod, and we use it with our total station mapping device. You might recognize it from a construction site or from seeing surveyors. And what this allows us to do is to map artifacts and features with even sub-millimeter accuracy on both like a horizontal and a vertical plane. And that is useful for us as a context, the relation between artifacts with one another and with features, as well as with this stratigraphy can allow us to interpret our data in a whole new way.
So I'm gonna head over and help Laura out to take a shot and figure out exactly where everything is. While Paul heads on up to shoot us in.
Focus in on the reflecting prism that Jesse is holding for us. And just focus. And I'll use this device. Shooting! Which will send an infrared light wavelength, which will then bounce off of the reflector. You're good. And that will calculate for us the distance. So now we have that point on both a horizontal and plane with accuracy to the millimeter. And we can record it on this data logger and then put it into programs like ArcGIS, which we can then use for spatial analysis. And here we have an example of the maps we can make with this data. You'll see all these are the mapped items from our third week of our workout here. Next we'll go look at the next part of the process, which is the initial processing of the soil that we removed from the site. And that's called dry screening. So here we have Maddie and Alexa who will tell us a little bit about this process.
Hey, I'm Maddie. So I'm going into my junior year at CSU, studying anthropology.
I'm Alexa Wolberg and I'm a junior.
Yeah, so what we have here is we take these buckets of the dirt that we've dug up from those holes that you see around, and we screen them through an 1/8 of an inch screen. So what you'll just see here is the big whoosh, which is pretty satisfying once you get all that stuff out. So once we have most of this dry dirt come out, we'll move on to what Alexa has right here, which is the smaller bits where you're actually able to find the artifacts.
So here are some examples of what we have found: flakes and pottery. And after we're done dry screening, we'll put them in these bags and then we'll take them back to the lab and water screen them and find more stuff.
Hi, I'm Colt Johnson. I'm a third generation Ram. Let's go CSU. And I'm going into my junior year here at CSU. What I got here is a piece of pottery in a bag, and all I just want to show is how much detail we put into it to map out where it is, where it came from, just to get the, I guess, ethnicity of the preserving the artifacts. And so right in here we got a cord pottery, which is a little piece of pottery that is made by putting cords across it to increase surface area for heating the food inside. It's like a giant crock pot almost, about the size of a 5-gallon bucket.
Hi,
Hi guys, my name is Amber Zubernat. I am a senior anthropology student, and I'm going to show you what was used at this site and similar sites for plant processing. So we have a groundstone or netherstone right here, and a handstone right here, and you can see the smoothed over beveled edge. And you would use to grind plant matter on here and process it for consumption.
My name is Jessie again, and I have a projectile point to show you, or an arrowhead. This was found at the site, I think, in the winter, just on the surface. And then I've also got a preform of that, so this is what it looks like if you can imagine more of a point on the end. This is what it looks like before they put all of the notches and the serrating on the edge like they have here.
And I just have some other variety of artifacts that were found at the site. So we have some examples of pottery here, a drill, and some other variety of projectile points.
So on behalf of all of the CSU students here, sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, so we've learned a lot in this class. It's probably one of the most enriching classes I've ever taken at CSU, just because the things that we're doing, this is actually the history of the site. So what we find will tell the story of these people that lived here, and that's really beautiful. Yeah.
I'm a transfer student, so I've only been going here. This is my second semester, and it's just nice to finally be doing something that is related to what I want to do in life.
Yeah, I'm Ray. I'm just graduated from CSU's history program with a master's and coming in as a first-year PhD student. Field school last year is really probably the reason got me to make the transition from history to anthropology and archaeology. It's an exceptional experience to see what you can come out here and put your hands in and see the tangible results of our human history here in Fort Collins for the last 1,000 years or more.
Let's try that again. All right. So on behalf of all the CSU students here, all the CSU alumni, and any of our supporting people, we just want to thank you so much for all the effort and support of the CSU Field School, and we really hope to continue and learn more and do more research, and so thank you very much.
Thank you!
Go Rams!
Go Rams!